you all. Basically, I'm going to go over the steps of gel application in this video. I'm not going to actually be creating a gel nail. More so, I'm going to be, so it's kind of going to be in a similar style of what my dehydrators versus primers video was about. Just explaining the difference between a couple and the way that you might choose to use it. Okay, so the first things first is we have to establish what each thing does. So when you're going to be doing gel on anyone, you're going to want to have, you know, of course you want to prep the nail like normal. You would use like your e-file, or you can use a hand file. Honestly, people do gel. Most of them like to use a hand file for a lot of the stuff they do. But you would prep just like you would acrylic. You would push back the cuticles. You would come in with your sanding band, and you would remove the, you would etch the nail. And then you would also trim any cuticles that need to be trimmed. And you would, like, you know, make sure you clip down the nails before you even get into the etching process. And then you would also go ahead and you would use any like cuticle bits you need to use just to really clean the cuticle area. And then after that, you would want to come in, you want to spray the nail with some alcohol. Usually, I would say use at least 90% if you're going to be doing it on the, if you're doing gel. Or you could very well also use a dehydrator. So any dehydrator you want to use. Some brands actually provide dehydrators, but I find that you can use the Mia Secret, the nail prep dehydrator, and get the same results. Because honestly, again, all this is a little bit of alcohol, which I said this in a previous video. All this is a little bit of alcohol and acetone. That's all that's in there. Okay, and then so you're going to want to do that. And then once you've done that, you'll let the nail, if you want to use a dehydrator, brush the nail off first with the manicure brush. But if you're going to be using the alcohol, spray the nail and then go in with a little manicure brush to remove any dust and debris. And then once you've done that step, then you want to come in with your actual base coat. And I will say Valentino does have some gel, like builder gel or hard gel. And I'm definitely going to try that out, and I will give that a try. You can certainly use polygel if you wanted to, but I prefer more traditional gel. I have used IBD when I was in nail school. And it's okay, but I don't know. I am trying to get more into gels for sure. So you're definitely get your base gel. So let's say in this instance I'm using Valentino just because that's the one that I have on hand that's really ready. So you would apply your base gel, whatever gel base coat is recommended that you use by the company. You would use that, and you would put it on the nail. Do a thin layer. Don't make it super thick, and you would cure that for about an LED lamp. You would do it for 60 seconds, or if it was a UV lamp, I think you have to double it up and you would do 2 minutes. But make sure it is because see, this one says you can do in UV or LED. Some require LED only. So just make sure you're paying attention to that whenever you're buying things or picking them up. And know what type of lamp you have and what wattage you have. But yeah, you would just apply, again, like it says on the back, apply the base coat to the natural nail. 30 to 60 seconds. If you're going to be doing an enhancement, definitely go with 60 seconds. And then aside from that, once you've done that step, then I'm just going to pretend like, you know, just diamond gel, like the gel in this case. You would want to take this, let's pretend this is actual gel, you guys. You would take your gel and you would get like a gel brush. I'm just going to say this is my gel brush in this case. And I would get this and get it, and then I would start, you know, building it on the nail. You could either do like a ribbon technique, or you could do a it's like with your ribbon technique, it's kind of like a side to side motion, or you could also do like no, I want to say the ribbon technique is a side-to-side motion, but there's a ribbon technique and there's another technique because you can also do like a circular motion. Y'all let me know if you actually are use gel. It has been so long since I used it, but if you've used gel, is the ribbon technique the side-to-side motion like that? I think that's a ribbon technique. I'm pretty sure. But if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I'm pretty sure it's a ribbon technique. And, you know, to clean up anything with, you know, anything on the side, you would not use acetone because acetone will break it down. You would actually want to use some alcohol. So you put like alcohol into like a little dapping dish or something like that. And then you would have it so you would clean up the nail. And you never like do anything with it until you're satisfied with it. You put it in the lamp then. But just take your time with gel. You have all the time in the world. And then, you know, after you've done that, again, you would spray the nail. Sorry, you would spray that. Yeah, you would spray the nail with alcohol just to make sure you wiped it down. Then you would go in with your shaping. You know, just shaping the nail like you would if it was acrylic nail. And you really don't have to use as coarse of a file as you would with acrylic. Because gel is pretty flexible. It moves pretty quickly. Now, I will say one big difference between gel and acrylic nails is that if someone wants enhancements, gel would be perfect for someone who usually has to work with nails that are like at active length, or if they want enhancements but they don't want a whole lot of weight to it. Some people just like the look of an enhancement, but they don't really need it for the structure part. Then you can certainly do gel because gel is best suited for clients who want the enhancements but without the weight. So that would be great for them. But yeah, acrylic is just a little bit, I mean, it's just stronger. But that really is the biggest difference between acrylic and gel. And then aside from that, with acrylic, you also would use a primer, you know, which is like, you know, the Young Nails Protein Bond or the Valentino, the Super Bond, or whatever it is that you're using in that case. But with the gel, your primer per se is your base coat, because that's what's going to create the adhesion for you for the gel to stick to. Because if you don't put your base coat down, most likely you could really because as it is, gel already burns when you put it in the lamp, but you could really probably damage your client's nail if you're not careful, and it could cause it to lift because it has nothing that it is able to adhere to. Even though you did prep the nail really well, you need to make sure you put that base coat down for that adhesion. So yeah, that really is the main difference between gel and acrylic. And then, but also the way it cures or the way it sets, like, you know, nothing is going to make acrylic set other than time. And yeah, really just time in there. There's really nothing you can do to make it set faster. There are things you can do to cause it to slow down. Like if your monomer is really runny, or if you've kept it in a cold area, the monomer is going to be runnier. Or if you've used like odorless monomer, you know, it has inhibitors in it that prevent it from, that slow down the drying time of it. So regularly with traditional acrylic, it does have a catalyst in it that's basically the step would be that, you know, you have your powder with acrylic, and then that'd be your polymer and that'd be your initiator, right? And then you have to pair it with the monomer, which is going to be your catalyst. It's going to speed up the reaction and cause you to get an acrylic nail. That's what creates acrylic nail as a whole. And then now if you're wanting a little bit more time, or if you don't want it to dry as fast, that's when you would go with the odorless monomer. Because you wouldn't really have the smell, and then B, it would be because also it slows down the drying time. But personally, I do not like odorless monomer. It's very difficult to work with. It's runny, and you're sitting there for a long time, and you're gonna have a hard time trying to build a nail. Aside from that, with gel, you do have, you know, the nail. The prep process really is the same, because you do apply the dehydrator, but when you get into the actual application, which would be like after you put on the tip or the form, you are gonna, difference with acrylic is you use a primer. With gel, you use a base coat. You apply your product with your you know, either the gel or the powder and the monomer. And then with the gel, you do that, and then you also put it in the light to cure it. With acrylic, you just have to wait for it to dry. And then, I mean, you wait for the same thing, but you can't put it in the light. Or even, I don't know if you all have ever been to the salons and they have you put your hand like under the light. That does nothing whatsoever for it. Like nothing is going to happen. Or you trying to have you hold up against a fan. That's not going to help either. You just have to let it do what it is going to do. And then aside from that, also the brushes are the same. I mean, not the same. The brushes are different. You know, for example, with an acrylic brush, the hairs are a lot different. So this is a gel brush right here. And then this is an acrylic brush. You see how the hairs are different? This is, most of the time, gel brushes are made up of synthetic fibers. And these here, this is like, you know, Kolinsky hair fibers. So the fibers of the hair are very different. So with that in mind, you know, and then also gel typically tends to take a little bit longer than acrylic does if you're experienced with acrylic, because gel, you do have to put it in a lamp every time, whereas acrylic, you can put it down, you can go ahead and do it and just move to the next finger. But with gel, sometimes it's not best to do a whole full hand. You want to do a couple fingers and then put it in the lamp, or you could do like a flash cure and then go into your other fingers. Otherwise, you're liable to have the product start to running off to the sides, because acrylic, once you put it somewhere and you know it's not, as long as it's not overly runny, it's going to stay where you put it. But with gel, you run the risk of it, you know, you turn your hand and all the gel runs to the side and you just have a whole mess now because the gel moved because it wasn't set into place. So that's another big difference. And then of course, after you finish filing your shaping, your buffing, and all that stuff, and you clean off the nails with alcohol, then you would go into, and it's the same step for either acrylic or gel, then you would go into your gel color, or if you're doing colored acrylic, you would just use a gel top coat. Same thing with the gel, because you can also get different colored gels, like the builder gels in the summer. You could with colored acrylic, but honestly, just use gel polish. I don't, you know, unless you're going to encapsulate it, but even then still, you could really just use gel polish. But anyway, so you would just go in with your top coat. I recommend non-wipe. I really don't know anybody who still uses top coat that you have to wipe. I don't recommend it. It's a lot of headache for no reason. Just use non-wipe. You'll find you'll need it a lot more for, especially if you're doing chrome and stuff like that. So you're going with a non-wipe top coat, or no cleanse top coat, any one of your choosing. It doesn't necessarily have to be from the same brand, because you could very well use like a D&D no wipe top coat. You could use a matte top coat, whatever you want to use, and you would go in with that, and then that really would be the final step. So hopefully this was helpful for you all in understanding the difference between acrylic and gel, and then also the difference in the process. I know it went by probably a little bit fast, but I will try to do another video as a follow-up to show you the difference between it and the way it dries and the steps you have to take through it. So if you would like a video that basically builds off of this one right now that I'm talking about here, then I can make that video for you all and we can go a little bit more in depth. I try to make sure that everything is clear, that you all can understand. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Let me know down below. Oh, also let me know, was I right about the ribbon technique? I think I was correct in saying that that was the ribbon technique, but then again, I'm not completely sure. But I do this all the time, second guess myself, and I'll like go look at them like, yeah, I was right. But yeah, you guys. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.